SIL offered to watch my son for a day when I got sick. Then my niece called me in tears because her mom fed my son peanut butter knowing about his allergy. IF32 don't really have a very good relationship with my husband's JM33 family. We have been married for 6 years now and have a 4-year-old son, Ajan. Yes, we are Game of Thrones fans. Please don't come for me in the comments. My in-laws do not really like me because I am not from the same culture as them. They are quite religious, but I lean towards agnostic, and they think that I am the reason why Jay has moved away from his faith. That is the farthest thing from the truth. He made those decisions himself long before he even met me. So I don't know where all the worry is coming from. Anyway, they have some preconceived notions about me. And though we are cordial now, we are certainly not close. After Ajan was born, things smoothed out a lot between my Mill and me. She used to come over more, and as we talked to each other, we were able to understand each other's perspectives better, which helped ease things out a lot. My Phil is mostly unbothered about all the family drama, and he treats me with respect and doesn't interfere or meddle in our affairs, which is all I want. So things on that front are okay too. Moreover, both of them just dote on Ajan, and he loves spending time with them. So yeah, even though things were a little icy in the beginning, it is much better now, and I can see how much this means to Jay, because he has always been close to his parents, even though they don't believe in the same things anymore. The problem is my SIL. She's Jay's sister Jo, and Joanna F40, and she has a 5-year-old daughter, Rachel. Joanna's husband left her 2 years ago because she was caught having an affair with his best friend. It was a mess altogether, and he fought tooth and nail to get Rachel's custody, but he only gets her on the weekends. That was a horrible time for the family, and though neither Jay nor I condone what Joanna did, we still knew we had to stand with her, because we're family. It was during this time that I offered to keep Rachel with me, while Joanna sorted out her stuff. It wasn't a big deal for me, honestly, because Ajan was the same age approximately, and having a cousin to play with would be better for both of them. So Joanna used to drop Rachel at my place in the morning, go sort out her court stuff, look for places to rent, jobs, etc., and then pick her up from my place in the evening. This went on for about a month, and both Rachel and Ajan got used to each other's company. Naturally, when she took Rachel with her full-time, Rachel was very upset, and Joanna, like a fool, took it as a slight to herself. She started feeling that Rachel preferred me over her, which was just not the case. She's a little kid and she doesn't think that way. I told Joanna repeatedly that Rachel liked playing with Ajan, which is why she liked my place more than theirs. And if an arrangement could be made to have them play together, the problem would resolve itself. I knew Joanna was butthurt about this, and I don't really blame her. Her emotions were all over the place. Even though she was the one that was cheating, things got sour between us, because she accused me of trying to steal her daughter. And that was when Jay had had enough. He told her that she should be thankful to us, because we were helping her stinking, cheating ass. But on the contrary, she was the one pulling an attitude with us. She went low contact with us, and it just hurt me a lot, because the kids were suffering because of her. What she didn't know was that her ex-husband, NL, used to bring Rachel to our place during the weekend, so she would get to see Ajan. He had sworn Rachel to secrecy, but all of us knew it was only a matter of time before she spilled the beans. She was just 3 at the time, and she would eventually have told her mother. But all of us thought that it was worth the risk. When the big reveal finally happened, there was a lot of drama, and Mill and Phil had to intervene and asked her to stop being thick and think about her daughter instead. It took some convincing before she could finally see our side of things and agreed to have Rachel and Ajan play together. The thing is that the kids absolutely adore each other. They're like siblings, and since they're so close in age, they gel really well together. It's honestly a delight watching them. especially since Jay and I had decided that we would have only one child. And I had always felt that not having a sibling is sad for a kid. But here, we kind of have the best of both worlds. The kids took turns at each other's places. There were times Rachel came over, and other times Ajan went to Joanna, or even NL, and most of the time they were at Mill and FIL's place. Things were okay, and never once did I suspect that Joanna was harboring such resentment against me. For all these years, had I known, I would have put Ajan's safety first. And now I can't help but think that I have failed as a mother. For the last 2 years, things have been more or less fine with Joanna. The kids get along, and that's what matters to me. So there's that. But all of this changed yesterday. Jay has been out of town for a week because of work. It's just me and Ajan at home. And even Mill and Phil are on vacation. I suddenly fell really sick 2 days ago. I was running a temperature and feeling nauseous. It wasn't anything serious, but I still felt quite weak. I called a friend over, and she helped me out. It was Rachel's turn to come home yesterday, but I didn't even have the energy to deal with one kid, let alone two. So I called up Joanna and asked her to cancel, and told her that I was quite sick. She kindly offered to take Ajan for the day, so that I could rest and recuperate. I thanked her profusely, because he would get his day out with Rachel, and I'd get some time to sleep and rest. We finalized the plan, and Joanna said she would pick Ajan up and take both him and Rachel to the adventure park in town. And after that, they could also have a sleepover at her place. This would tire them out completely, and they could enjoy it, whereas I could get a full day to myself. I was very grateful for her gesture, because she has very rarely shown me this kindness. I could never have guessed that something was amiss. I thought that she genuinely felt sorry for me in my sickness, which is why she offered to help. The next day, which was yesterday, she came around noon and took Ajan with her. I told her to keep giving me updates once in a while, and she told me that I had nothing to worry about, and that he would be fine. The minute he went out the door, I simply crashed on the bed. I was still running a temperature, and I needed sleep. Plus I knew Ajan was safe, and nothing would happen. He was with his aunt. What could even go wrong? So I had no stress or anxiety keeping me up. I don't know when I fell asleep, but at 2:05 p.m., I got a call from Joanna's number. It was actually the call that woke me up, and when I checked my phone later, I realized that she had called me once before, but I had slept through it. When I answered, I could hear someone crying on the other side, and I just froze. He had hives all across his body, and his face and eyes were swollen. I rushed him to the emergency, and I was fuming all the way through. I wanted to slap the crap out of Joanna, but I knew that getting him to the hospital and caring for him right now had to be my priority, and that she could be dealt with later. The doctors asked me if he had any allergies that could have brought about the reaction, and I said that he had always had a nut allergy, and everyone was careful about it. He asked me if he had accidentally eaten something containing nuts, but I said that he wasn't with me, and I brought Joanna. Joanna denied that he had eaten anything that had nuts in it. The doctor looked at us weirdly, and said that he would keep him under observation for a while, and that Ajan had to be monitored. This was when Rachel burst into tears, and said that Mommy gave him my peanut butter sandwich. Even when I told her that he couldn't eat it, I saw red. I lunged at Joanna and slapped her right there in the hospital, in front of everyone. She tried lunging back at me, but the nurses restrained her, and the doctor rushed to check on Ajan. Joanna tried to yank Rachel away, but Rachel was sobbing uncontrollably and was latched onto my leg as though her life depended on it. I felt so bad for the girl, and I knew if she went back with her mother right now, Joanna would rip her apart. I called up NL and told him that Rachel was safe, but he needed to come to the hospital. I wanted the right parent to be there with Rachel. Joanna was protesting and trying to create a scene. But when the nurses told her that if she kept up her behavior, she would be escorted out, she shut up. NL came and Rachel ran to him and hugged him. He looked at both Joanna and me and realized that something major was up. It had been a couple of hours in the hospital by then, and Ajin was fine. They said that the allergic reaction had been controlled, but that as family, it was everyone's duty to be more careful about what he was eating. The doctor said that they would keep him overnight for supervision, and that he would be discharged the next day. NL offered to drive me home, but I said that I needed to talk about what happened, and I needed both Joanna and Rachel there, which meant that he had to be there as well. We went to a diner to grab a bite, and what Joanna told me just made me lose my crap all over again. I had composed myself a little in all those hours, but listening to that talk made my blood boil. I first asked Rachel what happened. She looked nervously at her mom, who was glaring at her. NL stepped in and said that she needed to be honest about everything, and not worry because he would protect her, and that she needed to do the right thing. She was still very nervous, and while NL was coaxing her into telling us the truth, Joanna was trying to create a ruckus, saying things like we were bullying her daughter, and that she would not stand for it. I told her to shut up and let the girl speak, and that her intimidation tactics wouldn't work anymore. It took some time, but Rachel finally told us what happened. She said that Joanna had given them money to buy sandwiches from the sandwich stall. Rachel bought a peanut butter sandwich, whereas Ajin bought a mixed fruit jam sandwich. While they were on their way back, Ajin asked Rachel if he could have a bite, but she said no because he wasn't allowed to eat peanut butter. Everyone in the family knows about Ajin's nut allergy, even him, so I'm surprised that he asked her for the sandwich, and I'm glad Rachel had the sense not to give it to him. She said he didn't make a fuss, but looked a little down because he didn't get to eat the sandwich. When they got back to where Joanna was, why the hell wasn't she with two tiny kids in the first place is beyond me. Joanna asked Rachel why Ajin was being mopey. Rachel said that he wanted a bite of her sandwich, and Joanna got mad at her. She said that she should be sharing things with her cousin, and that she had been taught better, blah blah. Finally, Rachel said she had to cut in and remind Mom that Ajin couldn't eat peanut butter, but apparently Joanna was having none of it. Then both of them kind of got into a fight, and Rachel tried to resist Joanna's attempt to get her to give him the sandwich. But Joanna called her own daughter a greedy little shit and snatched her sandwich from her. By this time, Rachel said that both Ajin and she were crying, and she said that he would get sick like Auntie told us if he ate that sandwich. But Joanna said that this was just a harmless prank, and nothing would happen to him. She gave him the sandwich, but by then Ajin too was in tears, and said that he did not want the sandwich, and wanted to go back home, but Joanna literally force-fed him the sandwich. Rachel didn't use these exact words, but I know what Joanna was up to. It took every ounce of my strength not to lunge at Joanna and strangle her then and there. But I didn't want to do all this in front of Rachel. The poor girl had had enough for the day. Once she was done, she was in tears again, hugged NL, and said that she wanted to go with him, because Mommy scares me. All this while Joanna was scoffing, as if trying to discredit what Rachel was saying. I asked her if she had anything to say in her defense, and she said that she had no need to defend herself from the likes of me. She said that if I chose to believe a 5-year-old over a grown woman, I had to get myself checked, because clearly there wasn't a single logical brain cell left in me. I didn't fight with her or press for justification, because I was thoroughly exhausted. But I did tell her that if she refused to tell me her side of the story, if there even was one, I would take Rachel's version as the truth and proceed accordingly. She told me that I didn't have the power to do anything, and I just told her to watch out, because she might be family. But Ajin comes first for both me and Jay. And while I was being kind to her, she had no idea what Jay would do when I told him. That's where the panic set in. She told me not to involve Jay, because Rachel was lying. She then started rambling something about what had happened. But I told her to cut the crap. I had given her a chance to explain. But she blew it. So now she could deal with Jay herself. I walked out and let NL and her sort their crap out about Rachel together. I felt bad about leaving Rachel behind. But I didn't have it in me to deal with that night. I love the kid a lot. And I am so grateful to her for saving Ajan's life by calling me. And I wish I could just take her away. But she has a father who needs to now step in. On my way back, I called Jay and told him everything. He was so stressed. He said that he was going to come back. I told him that I had it under control and that they would discharge Ajan the next day. But he was adamant. I didn't really stop him because I know he gets worried. And gun to my head, I could have actually used the support. I know Ajan is all better now, and we needn't worry about anything. But I know for sure that I am not letting Joanna get away. She has deliberately endangered my child, and she needs to pay for it. I don't know how she will, but I know that she will. I can never trust her with Ajan again. And at this point, I am even worried for Rachel. She was so petrified of her mother. I can't even imagine what goes on behind closed doors. Update 1. Sorry for the delay in the update. I know a lot of you were asking for it. Honestly, things have been so busy and stressful at home that it never even crossed my mind to check Reddit. Jay came back the next day, and I hugged him so tight, I think I displaced some of his organs. Lol. Ajan was discharged, and he seemed okay, just tired. So we let him sleep for as long as he wished. I asked Jay if he had spoken to Joanna at all, and he said that there was nothing to talk to her about, and that he would never forgive her for doing something like this intentionally. Had it been a mistake, maybe there would have been a chance for forgiveness somewhere along the line. But Jay said that he just could not bring himself to be okay with this, or forget it and move on. I asked him what we should be doing. I had initially thought that we could just tell the entire family what she had done, so that there would be some outrage, and we would not be questioned on our decision to go no contact with her. But when I proposed this, Jay looked at me like I was crazy. He said that we needed to do much more. He told me that I had to stop thinking about her like family, because she didn't think of our son as such, and that she was dangerous. God knows why she willingly put his life in danger. She knew full well that the nut allergy was severe in Ajan's case. And even though her daughter, who was just 5 years old, kept reminding her, she ignored all her pleas and went ahead with this. He said that I needed to look at it for what it was. It wasn't a mistake. It was something that she had done out of pure spite and malice. And God alone knows what else she could do. I knew what he was saying was right. But verbalizing all this made it, I don't know, more real in a sense. I didn't want to accept the extent to which things had spiraled. But there was nothing else to be done. Joanna was dangerous. She had shown this to us herself. And the only thing we could do was ensure that she didn't endanger anyone else anymore. Most importantly, Rachel. Jay asked me where Rachel was, and I said that NL had probably taken her for the night. It was the weekend, the day Ajan returned, so she would have had a good 3 days with NL. And maybe by then Joanna would have calmed down, so that Rachel didn't have to face the brunt of her mother's wrath. Jay called up NL and asked him how she was doing, and he said that she was still very shaken up from yesterday, and she just refused to go back to mom. Jay told me that this was the best time to call CPS and report her, because no child should be this scared of a parent. For a moment, I thought maybe Rachel was scared, because her version of the story wasn't the truth. It was a possibility. She was just 5. Maybe there was an unintentional mix-up of the sandwiches on her part, and she was scared that we would scold her. So she put the blame on Joanna. And Joanna played along, because she didn't want Ajan and Rachel's playtimes to stop. over an innocent, albeit fatal mistake. I somehow couldn't shake this feeling away, even though no child could lie in such detail. But I just couldn't believe that despite knowing about Agent's allergies, Joanna would deliberately feed him the sandwich despite being told no. It seemed borderline crazy, and she had never behaved this way before. So we decided to call NL again, and I asked him whether Joanna had admitted to anything. And he said that she broke down and told him everything. He had secretly recorded the entire conversation, but he told us it was too dark to listen to. We asked him to forward the recording to us nonetheless. And there we could clearly hear Joanna admitting to everything. She said that she didn't know why she did it, but she did. NL was furious, and he asked her why she didn't go to the emergency herself. And she said that she couldn't afford the bill. He told her that she should be thankful that Rachel called me up, because if she hadn't, Agent would have died. She was sobbing in the recording and kept on saying, I'm sorry, but I didn't have a single feeling of sympathy left for her after that. I realized that the stress of the day had actually made me forget the seriousness of the situation. And it's true, if Rachel hadn't been smart or brave enough to call me, Agent would have died. I owed that kid my son's life, and I knew that I had to do everything in my power to keep her away from that asshole of a mother and woman. We called CPS and told them everything. We told them that we were worried about Rachel's safety, and that if she was capable of deliberately inducing an allergic reaction in a child, and then not responding accurately because of a purported lack of funds, we didn't know how safe her own kid would be with her. The officer took note of it and asked us what the custody agreement was. And we told them everything. The next Monday, which was 2 days later, the officers were at her place. We knew because she sent a scathing text to us, telling us that she knew we were behind this, and that she should have killed Agent when she had the chance. I have blocked her since then, but Jay hasn't. He called her up and gave her a piece of his mind, and told her that he would go to the ends of the earth to keep Rachel safe from her, because she clearly wasn't mentally stable. Mill and Phil were finally roped in, and we told them everything. At first they tried to make excuses for Joanna, but when we made them hear the recording, they didn't have anything to say. I don't know what their equation with Joanna is, and neither do I care. But both Jay and I have told them that we want nothing to do with her anymore. We hope that CPS is going to take Rachel away from her, but we can't be sure, because there is no neglect or abuse involved in her case. But I know that if she continues to stay with Joanna, she is going to make things horrible for her own daughter. Update to CPS has removed Rachel from Joanna's care, and she is now going to live with NL permanently. The custody agreement had to be officially changed, and Joanna went crazy about it. And now we know why. It wasn't because she would miss Rachel or something. It was because she was using the child support payments to fund her life. The child support was an insane amount, and now she's going to have none. Keeping Rachel with him is going to be better on the pocket for NL. Not that it matters to him anyway. NL has also been asked to take Rachel to therapy, because the poor kid has been having nightmares ever since the Agent affair. Agent on his part is doing well. He doesn't even remember much. And when we ask him how his day with Auntie and Rachel was, he just says he had a lot of fun. And the best part was the hospital ride at the end. I cannot even fathom why someone would hold so much resentment for a child. Mill has been quite upset over the incident. Not Agent particularly, but the one where a mother lost her child due to our intervention, aka Joanna. I don't understand how she can continue to sympathize with Joanna. Phil, for his part, is furious, and he says that he initially did not believe that she could be this crazy. He has apologized to us for not believing us. And while it still annoys me, I know that he means well. No father would ever want to know or accept That one child of his was capable of intentionally fatally harming the other child's kid. So I understand his hesitation about it all. Rachel and Ajan still meet up regularly. We didn't want Rachel to think that she did anything wrong, or that she could have done anything more during the day the incident happened. She still blames herself though, and it breaks my heart to see her like that. She even made sorry cards for Ajan, Jay, and me. I think it has to be one of my most prized possessions. I try spending time with her as much as I can. Call me old-fashioned, but I feel that a child needs a maternal figure in his or her life. And Rachel has never had that. Even though Joanna is a mother, I don't think she has the capacity to be maternal. She has proven that with the way she was with Ajan, no person capable of pulling something like that off will ever have that innate compassionate instinct. I know a lot of you are going to come at me in the comments for saying this, but it is what it is. We are trying to normalize things for the kids as much as possible, even though nothing is normal anymore. Joanna has been trying to get in touch with Jay and me. Mill told us, but she's blocked everywhere. So that's an unnecessary headache she has taken upon herself. She tries to subtly act as an intermediary, but every attempt of hers has been shot down, and both Jay and I are running on thin ice with her. She either gets it herself, or we go no contact with her pretty soon. I can't have her talking about that woman and trying to get us to be a family again. Update 3: Joanna tried to take Rachel from school. The school already knew about the issues going on, so they were prompt in reaching out to NL. Rachel is safe, and she just doesn't want to be with her mother at all. NL is thinking of going for a restraining order, but he's not sure yet, because at the end of it all, Joanna is her mother, and nothing can change that. It's just a pile of hot mess right now, and I personally would prefer being away from this drama. But I do know that the drama started because I called CPS on her. I personally think that she is not a good parent by far. But I mean, now things are getting serious and criminal, which is unsafe for everyone. Who knows what she'll do next? They're trying to resolve this, and if it doesn't get resolved, a restraining order is the only option available. I hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, I don't think there's anyone to blame except Joanna herself.